Round 5.
Asked Dan this earlier in the week, but just obviously curious your opinion too. Just as a fan of special teams, Dave, how much have you enjoyed the impact that teams have had early in the season? Obviously, week 3 we saw the blocks. You guys with the punt return touchdown. It's really had a big impact early in the year.
Yeah, it is a good question. I actually just said to somebody the other day, I love the fact that, special teams having a bigger impact. It obviously makes our jobs more important. It makes our role more important. It makes really all the players playing those plays jobs more important. I think it helps everybody. I think I said in the offseason or training camp, the returner position is going to be more important, both kick and punt, kickoff return. You have to have 2 guys back there. You can't just have one. So that makes, that more important on the roster, how many guys you have, who they are. So I would say overall it's outstanding. I love it. Puts more pressure on you too, but that's why you do it. So it's fun.
How do you feel about what you guys have done in the kick return game so far? Leaf had the big one on punt, but it seemed like you got a couple decent returns last week.
Yeah, I think kickoff return, probably the best way you could say it is we've been fairly consistent with our blocking. We haven't had a ton of negative plays. We had one in Green Bay the opening week. We had another one in Chicago where we kind of ran straight into a guy. But I would say I think it's been fairly consistent. The punt return game obviously had been non-existent until really last week. We put a big emphasis on it going into that game, and sometimes that's the way the season goes. Different teams, you have different strategies, and going into that game, big strategy was to return the ball on punt return, be aggressive with it. Obviously, Leaf did a good job. But I think as the season flows, there's going to be ebbs and flows. That's the way the game works. And just like I kind of alluded to last week, for us, the goal is going to be to continue to improve, just get a little bit better each week. I think the guys have done that in the first 4 weeks. We got a big challenge with these guys this week for sure.
On the other side of the kickoff cover, or more specifically the kickoff, I know you said Jake Bates has really improved in that area. It seems like he's got that lob wedge kick kind of fine-tuned, dropping in between the goal line and the 3-yard line. How about some of the other varieties that are, I would guess, more difficult? How's he coming along with his development of maybe more of a variety of kicks?
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see what happens across the league. Obviously a couple weeks ago the Rams played Philly and they got the ball on the ground all the time. Carolina has done a good job with that. I think that's gotten some attention out there. And the one thing I would say about that, like if you watch the Carolina game against New England, obviously those guys had a bunch of time to prepare for it, or it was really us against Baltimore going into that game. Baltimore had done a lot of it. And I think what you're seeing is teams are starting to play some of these short kicks a little bit better. And I think now you're starting to see maybe getting the ball on the ground. If you can get it on the ground and get it to roll around forever, obviously that's the best play you can get. The second best play you can get is the returner muffing the ball. If he muffs the ball, then you're doing good on kick coverage. But I think what's starting to find out is New England started to play that ball short, and so they were up there. They forced them to kick it deep a little bit. If they hit it short, it was in their hands short right away, and now it ended up being a positive play for New England. So I think over time some of that stuff will kind of come back out of the game a little bit. I think what will stay in the game, I think ultimately, I talked to Bates about this the other day, is the kicker is a huge factor in the play. His ability to move the ball around the field is going to be crucial. If they're playing you up, you want to put it deep. They're playing you deep, you wouldn't mind being able to put it up. They're playing with one returner, you'd like to knock it down somewhere on the ground where that guy can't get to it, so low and short, not a lot of hang time. And then I think some of the stuff also depends on how the front's playing. The front has to set up before the kicker can kick the ball. So sometimes they put 5 guys over to one side and 3 to the other. Sometimes they go whatever, balanced look, 3-3-3 down the middle. But you really kind of want the ball placed in a different spot based off what the front is too. So it's putting a lot in the kicker's hands. I think the more that coaches learn about the play, the more the kickers are going to learn about the play, and the more the ball's you're going to want the ball to move around based off of not only the returner but also the look that you have.
What were you saying the Patriots were doing? They were playing the returners up to.
Yeah, I didn't spend a lot of time on it, but it looked to me like it was kind of similar to Baltimore for us. We played our left returner up, because they kicked the ball down short on that left side. So the ball bounced on the ground, but it's a short hop, and it just got in that guy's hands right away. And now he's sitting at the 10-yard line as opposed to sitting at the 1-yard line. And so whatever, it's a lot of time. So now
How difficult is it to like execute that kick, like get it in the landing zone? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think the short kick is difficult. Some guys have mastered it, and a lot of guys are trying to and haven't. I would say it that way. But either way, I think if you can play, if you know what's coming, then you got a chance to make it work for you. I think a little bit more. So.
Vic Fangio talked this week about a rule that maybe slipped the public's eye on the kicking balls.
Yeah.
And the ability to wear them down. I'm just kind of curious what your thought is on that new rule. Was that something you guys were excited about?
Yeah, so I think at the end of the day, I've been asked a few times about this, which obviously at least they asked somebody who might have an idea. I'm not sure how much Vic Fangio knows, but I do respect the heck out of him. He's a great coach. I was around him for like a week in San Fran when he came in. Anyway, I would say that I don't think that it makes a big difference. I think it's very minimal. I think it's one of those things that is perfect for the NFL. Like it draws headlines and people talk about it, and it's a great storyline. But do I think it affects it? Sure, a little bit. But I do think very minimal. Now, I would say this, like in the past, we have put a huge emphasis on preparing the ball for game day. And the procedure used to be you'd have an hour to prepare the ball on game day at the stadium. And we have one of our equipment guys, Kamara, who does a great job with that. And he was exceptional at it the last handful of years. So we were going into the game with a great ball a year ago. If your guys didn't prepare the ball well going into the game, maybe it makes a bigger difference for some of those people. I would say for us, minimally. The only other thing I would say is like just to go like through the history of the game. Not that I know it all. I wish I did, like Belichick, but. But I'll give you another story about history too. So anyway, the history of the game, when I first got in the league, people would tell me that how they prepared the balls for a game day was like they would take the football, they would soak a towel, they would wrap the football in the towel, they would put the football and the towel in the drying machine, and they would tumble it. And so now it would come out of there round, and all the seams are off and nice and soft and round. And anyway, I know this. We've never kicked a ball like that, but they've certainly done it before in this league. So, you know, the whole asterisk thing, all that. These guys are better players than they've ever been at all positions, offense, defense, special teams. These kickers have way bigger legs than they've ever had. Coaches are going for it or kicking longer field goals much more than has ever been done before. And it'll just open up the opportunity to get more of these players like that. As far as history, it wasn't my best subject. I would say that. Not that I had one. PE was pretty good. So I couldn't play 8th grade sports because I was failing my history class. And I had this coach, his name was Rick Woods. He was the head coach of the football team at the time. And I was kicked off the sports teams, and I wasn't allowed to play, so I was devastated. It was the only subject I was any good at. And then we were playing in PE. I got to still participate in PE. We were doing PE, and we were doing dodgeball. I mean, that was like the best day in the world, right? Get to actually do dodgeball. So we were doing dodgeball, and then this guy, Rick Woods, he came and grabbed me, and he's like, hey, I got to talk to you. And he's like, I got to talk to you about this history thing. And I'm crying, I'm pissed, I'm upset, I'm crying. And he says, hey, I was a history major. Well, I idolized this guy. He was the head coach of the varsity football team. He was a PE teacher for us. He was a great person. And he told me how history was not as, he majored in history. You could end up turning it around. I ended up meeting with the principal every morning at 6 a.m., going over history so that I could pass the test, so that I could get eligible, so I could play sports. And here I am today. So that's my history lesson.
What You had the kicking balls like last year. How'd you prepare the ball? What was the?
So the way in general, the way they prepare the ball, it all kind of depends on the officiating crew and all that. You used to have to do it in front of those guys. Some of those guys looked at it more strictly than others. The bottom line is you're trying to break down the seams and you're trying to round the ball out. And then you're also trying to make it a little bit more tactile because it comes out and kind of slippery right out of the box. So at the end of the day, you're supposed to only be able to use this brush that Wilson makes. It's a hard brush, and you can use the brush. Now, they say you could use any part of the brush, so you could use the backside of the wooden brush. So those guys would take the backside of the brush on the seams. They would take the bristle side of the brush and smooth the ball out. And then, obviously, you see those kickers push the tip of the ball into the tee before they kick off throughout the course of the game. Yeah, they're also trying to flatten it out and round the thing out. And the rounder and smoother you can get it and the more grippy you can get it, the better for really all three of those guys, snapper, punter, kicker.
You don't have to do that now with balls because there is no kicking ball.
So now the procedure is now basically we have the balls ahead of time. So we no longer have to get that job done in an hour on game day and see those balls for the first time on game day. Now we have those balls here in the facility. We can prepare them throughout the week. We can actually kick with them and then bring them to game day. The official inspects them, make sure it's good, and then we're good to go.
You can use those balls for as many weeks as you want?
There's a week limit on that. I don't know that off the top of my head. I want to say it's like 4 weeks in a row or 5 weeks in a row, and then those balls got to shuffle out. And during that time, you could start to introduce a new one or whatever. So.
It's still a kicking ball, though, right?
Yeah, it's only kicking ball. And that's the one thing, another just on the K-ball deal, another weird thing would be like a hurricane situation or a hurry-up field goal at the end of the game. The offense is out there. They would not get the kicking ball into us if we're running on the field and the clock's going down 8, 7, 6, 5. They don't have time to switch the ball out. But every other traditional play on special teams, like we're going to punt the ball. When we take our punt team out there, they bring the kicking ball out there. Or when we go field goal, they switch the quarterback ball out and they put the kicking ball out there, and we kick the field goal with that.
Throws his fake punt. That's it with the kicking ball.
So we throw with the kicking ball. Yeah, which is totally different than the quarterback ball. All you got to do is look at the color. The quarterback balls they put, I don't know what they did on. Yeah. All right, you guys have a good one.
Good afternoon. I will dive right into it like each week, recapping last week against Cleveland. First and foremost, want to give a major shout out to not only the players, but the coaching staff, the defensive coaching staff. And the reason I want to bring that up is because I ask these guys each week essentially to adapt to the week. Like, you have to be able to adjust and adapt in this league now and not just be in your stubborn ways. It's different contrasts versus Lamar Jackson and Joe Flacco, the different variations in offense and the way these guys are going to try to attack us and the volume that these guys are able to teach weekly is really amazing. Like, this is the most defense we've played week to week since I've been here. So I want to credit them. They're the ones who spend the most time with their rooms, and they have these guys ready to play, and they have them ready to play at a high level. Getting into last week, obviously we played at a high level on defense. Credit to the players. I've been telling you all along, that's the standard here. The way these guys played, the output, the numbers, everything is the standard around here. And I knew they were capable of that. The biggest kind of pain in our you-know-what has been the explosive plays and explosive gains. We were able to limit the Cleveland Browns to only 2 of those. And when you're able to do that, you see the outcome. Third down, trying to get that percentage down. We held them to 3 of 14. But that's what we had been doing. It was just the penalties a lot of times. In a lot of those games, half of the third down conversions were by way of penalty. So the players cleaning that stuff up, playing with clean hands at the top of the route was the emphasis. Those guys did that. Red zone, we made them earn it. When they got down there, it took all 4 at the 1-yard line, and they barely got that. And then the other 3 points was off of sudden change plus 42-yard line drive start. And those guys went out and held them to a field goal. Red zone, so that's 50%. Run game, 2.9. So when you're able to go out and do those type things, no matter, we know the type of offense we have here. But I always tell the defensive unit, no matter if they score 50 or 17, I expect us to win. by the way that we operate on defense. And those guys are rising to the challenge every week, and it's really a joy to see and a joy to coach.
Can you speak about Lynn McNeil? Obviously, y'all started his practice window. You know, what did you see out of him? Obviously, it was only one day, but how do you see him helping when he's able to get back on the field?
That's all I need to see. I see him helping in a major way. Now, the biggest task for me is being patient. And, you know, the collaborative effort with our training staff, strength staff, and obviously the head man giving me the green light for him and what that's going to entail and look like. But I told Dan yesterday, it's amazing when you watch those practice clips. It's like he's been at training camp. I mean, he does not look like a player that hasn't practiced. And that's credit to him. I know all this bone density and all these guru terms they throw out. But all I know is I see a very, very high caliber defensive tackle when I turned on the tape yesterday. So I'm very excited to have him back out there.
You were going to
Defensive
be
tackle spot real quick. Your short yardage run defense, really. I mean, you mentioned the goal line stand. I think you guys have stopped 6 of 8, like 3rd and 1 rushing attempts this
Absolutely.
year. Obviously, those 2 big guys in the middle, that's a big part of it. In your eyes, what has been the key to some of that success?
It's a big reason why DJ Reader got a game ball. He's not popping off the stat sheet, and he doesn't have 13 tackles, 3 sacks. But it's all the dirty work that people don't see. Like, those guys, statistic-wise, they show up when Jack Campbell gets 10 tackles every week because they can't come off of double teams. They show up when Tyleek goes out on 2 huge critical plays 2 weeks ago and gets 2 PBUs. Man, them guys, I can't rave about them enough. And it's not just those 2. Roy Lopez, we're about to get a lean back. I mean, we got guys for days. I just tell Case, you just roll them in. I don't care who's in the game. We got 4 defensive tackles that are all starting caliber players. And that's something new around here, as you guys know, and it's a joy. I'm glad my first year doing this, I'm able to just have the comfortability that we can roll those guys as we see fit as the game goes.
You were going to be without Aleem there for a minute to start the season. You bring up DJ and the dirty work he's doing. You guys have leaned on him pretty heavily. Just how much has he helped you patch this absence of Aleem this season?
He helps us patch everything on the front. DJ is the ultimate professional. I know his name doesn't get mentioned a lot, and he doesn't wear a C on his chest, but he is viewed as a leader on our defense. He doesn't talk much, so when he does, guys listen, even me. He's giving me a couple ideas, a couple things, what guys like, what they don't. He's a mature guy, so we can have some conversations that you can't have with like a Terry Hunt Arnold and things like that. You just, TA, get over there, here's the call, go play. With DJ, DJ's like, Shep, the guy's kind of not feeling that, man. And I'm like, oh, really? Why? But he always has a why behind it. So, man, I got a lot of respect for Reader. I mean, a 10-year vet that's still out there right now taking 40 snaps a game at 330 pounds. It's amazing to see. Coming off an injury 2 years ago. So that's my guy, man. DJ Reader is a leader on this defense, and he holds things together up front.
Obviously, they're without Joe Burrow, one of the best players in this league, but still got Chase and Higgins on the outside. Browning was talking this week about not doing a good job last week, giving those guys opportunities to make plays on 50-50 balls. That was something he really wanted to do this week. Can you just speak to those 2 guys outside and how you've got to be really good against them, especially against those 50-50 balls, and maybe how excited are the defenders for that opportunity?
Absolutely, and it's no secret that we have DJ Reed out, who's been our top guy thus far. But when you see things like that, I see opportunity for somebody. I see a tremendous opportunity. If you told me I'm a corner in the league and I get to go out on the big-time stage and match up with those 2 guys, that's what you want. That's what you want. You can't run from it. You can't hide from it. But also, as a coaching staff, we have to be smart and understand that is a 2-headed monster over there. But you can't just lose sight of the running back either, Chase Brown. These are explosive players, and he is as well. And they do a good job, and they understand that teams have to account for those 2, and that's where Chase makes his hay. But I can't speak about him enough. I was with Jamar my first year coaching back in 2020 at LSU. So I have a personal relationship with him. I've seen the way that player works, so it's no surprise to me the success that he's having. And credit to him. But also, we have guys over here too. And our guys hear it loud and clear. Our guys hear all the things that you guys hear about these 2 players. And I know the competitive nature of our guys in our room. So I'm looking forward to the task and challenge at hand. Although Joe Burrow isn't playing, that offense still runs like a fine oil machine. A lot of respect for Zach Taylor. I was around him as a player down in Miami, a brilliant offensive mind, and he's going to find ways to get those guys versus scheme and unschemed targets in this game, and we understand and know that.
And Avante spent a lot of time with the first team during training camp just because of injuries and stuff like that. How can that kind of help them acclimate when you need to rely on them over these next couple weeks here?
To me, if you're on the 69-man roster, shame on you if you're not acclimated already. If you're here, practice squad, you see we call guys up and you're in the fire. It's not a wait around, you're here getting free meals every day. No. If you're on a 69-man roster, like I said, you should be scratching, clawing, and itching at an opportunity like you have right now. So, like I see those guys plug and play players. You're on the NFL roster, you're an NFL player. There's no bad players in the NFL. So to me, it's next man up. And they hear that too. And they know this could be your one shot. This could be your one opportunity. And don't view it as pressure, view it as a tremendous and beautiful opportunity and go seize the moment.
Shep, speaking of that, your time at LSU, in that role, you were helping young men navigate through football and life. And I was talking to Derek Barnes last week, and he was saying that you're not only a brother to him, you're a brother to players, to other players in the locker room, and they know that when they speak with you, the buck stops with you. So my question is, how did your time at LSU help you formulate your relationships with these players and build that bond and that trust?
Yeah, that's very interesting you brought that up, because I tell everybody that made me the coach that I am. Because you have to understand the person before you understand the player. Because you're never going to get through to the player if you don't know the person. And it's simple as that. And I respect these guys as people first. And it helps that I sit in that seat and I know what it feels like to be a number versus a person. And when you see them as people, they see you as a person. And that's relatable. Like in this game and life, that's relatable. You can coach them a certain way when they know you have their best interests. So that role that I had at LSU was a beautiful thing. A lot of it was chasing kids around, making sure they were in class, not in class. Where are you? Why are you doing this? You can't talk to the coach like that. You can't. But I learned throughout that it's all different type of people, man. It's ones who get it the first time. It's ones who learn from others. And then it's ones that take multiple times. And that's also schematically. You can't give up on people. Like everybody deserves a second chance. But also within that, the person you're giving a second chance has to understand there may not ever be a third. So it's a lot of lessons in life that I learned from that's helped me become the coach that I'm becoming.
You do something. I want to go back to something you said in your opening statement about you teaching more defense week to week than you've seen here since you've been here.
Yeah.
Is how important, I guess, is it to be that versatile week to week, and why was it important for you to maybe, I don't know if this is putting your own kind of special sauce on the defense or something?
Yeah, because it's what I believe in, number one. And when I say what I believe in putting players in position to make plays and not just being stuck in your ways. These are my 3-4 defenses. We're going to do this and never adjusting, because that's when you start to get attacked and schemed up and the players feel hopeless out there. And that's the worst thing, is I know for me as a coach, for my players to ever feel hopeless. I want my players to know we always have answers for you. That's what our job is as a coach, to have direct answers for you and solutions to problems, not only going into a game, but as the game flows, and showing them how I think a team's going to attack us. And if they attack this coverage this way, this is how we're going to adjust. And then those players start to believe in it, man. They're like, shit, we're good. I mean, there's nothing they could do now. It ain't nothing they can do, but it's almost nothing they could do to make me feel helpless. And that's when you start to build confidence, player to coach. And these guys have been all in from the start. So I'm not saying like it had to build up to this, but it does strengthen when they see the results, when they see you preaching something and now like, oh, this works. Like, so now they want more and they want more. And you have to have a strong staff to do that. And I'm very fortunate to have that.
Shep, there's so much focus, obviously on the DN spot opposite Hutch.
Yep.
We saw Lacey get some more reps last week. He showed up. What does he give you guys that complements Muhammad and O'Connor opposite Hutch?
Lacey, you're speaking of? Oh, he's been tremendous. He's growing on me every week, and he's getting more and more every week. It's just the big body at first when he walked in here. You see this huge man, you think, oh, he's a defensive tackle. And then you kind of start to see him in individual move around. And I started to ask him, have you ever played DN? And at first he looked at me and was like, what? No. What do you mean DN? And I'm like, I just a thought. And then the next week I went up to him again. How would you feel if I told you I needed you to play the 5? Good, coach. Like, and at that point, I don't think he cared what I asked. I could have said safety, and he would have said, I'm good, coach. Because he's a guy that's been around this league that hasn't been afforded many opportunities, and he knows this is his second shot at the apple after coming in the league from Oklahoma State. And he allows us versatility is what he allows us, to be in certain what looks like big packages and kind of morph those into sub groupings. The same way that I speak of D. Barnes, you can speak of Lacey to a certain degree as far as the versatility that he provides for our base defense.
I also was going to ask about Lacey, but does that also open up how you can use Muhammad? I mean, just the ability to, you've been flipping him inside and using him, some of that mismatch stuff against the interior lineman?
Absolutely, because I was going to say, I think we all know that we have a guy opposite Hutch now. I think we're pretty safe to say that Muhammad is a guy opposite Hutch, not just another guy we're throwing out there. But he's been tremendous. I mean, you literally have seen Muhammad line up at the nose, the 3, the edge, and haven't batted an eye. He's gotten run game in there. It hasn't just been pass rush. I've seen him drop a knee and anchor. I mean, just anything you've asked that guy to do. And like I said, where he is in his career, to see him kind of ascending in a way is a credit to Casey Rogers, but more importantly, it's a credit to Muhammad, man. Head down, he's been a grinder since day one, ever since I met him.
Looking forward to this opportunity going on the road and good defense. They do a good job. They get after it, veteran players. They know their defense inside and out. They do a good job with their rush on the back end. They don't do a lot, but except for third down 7 and 10, when you're getting around that area, they do a lot of stuff. But they do a really good job. Veteran defense with Trey and Wilson, those 2 guys, they make this defense go. So we got our work cut out for us a little bit. So any questions?
How different are they schematically, switching from Lou and the defense he had there for years to Al?
Mm-hmm. Same scheme. So I don't see a lot of difference there. Al was, he was there a few years ago, so same type of defense, almost the same players. So like I said, they do a really good job because they know what they're doing. They've been in the same defense, so yeah.
I wanted to ask you about Jared and just from your first time here to now, how have you seen him grow and get better at what he does?
Everything. Just everything, man. I mean, the communication of the RC that we always talk about, he's just been phenomenal. Game planning, me and him, just talking, the accuracy that he's had, handling checks at the line, all that, just everything. He's just so much better at. And he's played a while, so he's comfortable in this offense and where we're at. And that's good for a quarterback because we want, you want him to go out there and not think about a lot of stuff. But he's got us in some great checks, and we capitalized on it. So to answer your question, just really everything.
What can a quarterback do to improve their pocket presence?
Well, you drill it, 2 hands on the ball. You got to have little subtle movements. You know what I mean? Sometimes quarterbacks, they move too much or too much in the pocket, move up, out, in, and then they get in trouble because now the D-line's on you now. So you got to work those drills, and we do that daily. Thought he did a really good job last week.
John, I'm curious how much appreciation you have for receivers who embrace blocking.
Yeah, I played wide out. Scotty does an unbelievable job with those guys. I think it's awesome. And to have those guys, because it helps the run game out so much, and then play action, man. And then when defenders see that, when a defense sees the wideouts blocking like the way our wideouts block, they know every single down, they got to bring it. If they don't, we'll probably have some success. So it just sets up everything. We're such an unselfish team. I think that's the best thing about this team.
The receiver, or did you just fly?
Blocked. I wanted to catch the ball, man. No, I blocked and I caught the ball.
How much do you expect a bounce back from Jamo? A couple of those were going to be difficult catches, but probably the third down, he'd probably be the first to admit he probably should have had that one. Just to bounce back.
I think he bounced back right away because look what he did after the game, man. He continued to block his butt off during the game. We hit him on that 1 third down play. So he bounced back the next play. That's what I think. And then the way he practices, man. Listen, there's no problem with J-Mo. And there's going to be times where we're going to ask him to step up, you know what I mean? And he'll do it. We've got the utmost confidence in him. But I would say right to the next play, man. And that's what he did. I think that's where he's grown. You know what I mean? Didn't faze him. So...
John, you've seen a lot of good tackles in this league, and you've seen a lot of guys play through a lot to play on Sunday. Just what do you make of the way that Decker is playing right now, given all that he's playing through for you guys?
Again, man, it's about the team, and he prepares to get ready. It's a good thing that he is a veteran. He's seen a lot of stuff, so he's got to do a lot of film study to be ready for the game. So I think it gives everybody confidence when you know he's going to be ready on game day.
You regularly mention the unselfishness of this roster. I go back to the first time we talked to the combine, the kid in the candy store line with just all the weapons you have.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, everybody wants the ball. Even if they're unselfish, they want the ball. They want to feel like they're contributing. How much time do you spend just making sure you're finding ways to keep all those guys involved in that way and letting them have their piece of the pie?
Yeah. Well, I don't go home until Friday, so... That's what I do. I sit there and try to find ways to get these guys open. No, but I love it. I love this part of the week. The preparation. That's what I live for. It's a good problem to have. And then when the game starts, you got to see what happens. Sometimes it's this guy that has the hot hand. Sometimes it's that. It's just whatever they're doing. We try to adapt and try to change if we need to. And then you got to do that right away in the league. Okay, what are they doing? What are they not doing? Anything, that's what good coaches do, and that's what we've done.
Along the same lines, this offseason seemed like getting Jameer lined up out wide was a focus. We haven't really seen that come to fruition too much in the first 4 weeks. Was that something you felt like you need to scale back, or something hold on for later?
No, it's been in. Again, so every game's different. I have certain packages. It just so happened in the game that things change. So you just gotta wait and see every week.
Go, Dave, or whoever was up there. No,
you're at the forefront of a lot of staff change this offseason, but how happy were you when you realized you were going to get to keep Hank Fraley on the staff, and what kind of asset has he been for you so far?
He's awesome, man. Like I said, you think I'm a mad scientist. Him and the head coach, they're mad scientists in the run game. And I think it's helped, because you want to keep the defense off their toes, show them different formations, but maybe run the same play. It's kind of the same things you do in the passing game. You give them illusion that they're seeing what they saw last week, but it's not. But I think they do an unbelievable job. Hank does a great job with those guys. It helps that he's played, he played center. He knows the whole thing, protections, the run game, everything. I think that's big, and the players respond to him. So his communication's awesome.
With the wealth of weapons you guys have, does this offense remind you of any that you've seen, that you've been around in your coaching career?
Yeah, when I was at the Raiders, we had Tim Brown, Jerry Rice, Charlie Gardner, Tyrone Wheatley, Doug Jolly. We went to the Super Bowl there. We had the best offense in the league, so all those guys are Hall of Famers, just about half of them. Great offensive line. That's really the only thing that comes to mind, really. But these weapons, we can do whatever we want, like I said before in the past. But I hope I answered your question. But those guys.
When you talk about adapting in game and the importance of it, is that one of the bigger values of being in the box and having that eagle eye view is the, I guess, the quicker ability to adapt and relay that message.
Yeah, well, I also think it's the coaches communicating. You know, we talk in between series. So what are you seeing? What are they saying? I want to know what the players, what they're saying, what the quarterback's saying. But I can see a lot of stuff up there. There's no doubt. I think it's way easier to call plays up there. Because I got guys down below I can trust. You know, they've done it. So that's the biggest thing. If I didn't have those guys, I would probably go downstairs, you know, for the quarterback. But we got veteran coaches. They've done it, man. So, but it's a lot easier. It takes all the chaos out being on the field where you can call plays and it's nice and quiet.
You mentioned the Hall of Famers you were around before, very early in their careers, but Amon-Ra and Panay both have a couple, you know, first-team All-Pros. Do you think they are tracking there? Do you think they have that potential?
I mean, it ain't even close. I told St. Brown the other day, you're the best I've ever been around. Run and pass, the way you prepare, the professionalism, what he does in the off-season. I've said this before, he reminds me of Anquan Bolden. Man, they just come to work. All they want to do is dominate every single play. But, man, I told him, I said, I don't really care what the coverage is. You're going to get open. I know, you know, and Jared has that comfort level with him. Man, when you got that, it's kind of easy to call plays, you know. But I just think just his attitude and how he approaches his preparation. I haven't seen it from a wideout like that. That's pretty impressive. And Panay, I mean, just every game. It's just really impressive. And he approaches the game the same way, too. They're always working their craft, trying to master their trade. And I think, man, and that's contagious. You know, other players see that, young players see that. Man, I got to do that. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, he's very special.
St. Brown, best you've ever been around. You did mention you were around Rice. I mean, it was the end of his career, so a different time.
That was towards the end of his career. I'm talking about run and pass, everything. I mean, Jerry would block every once in a while, you know, but I don't think Bill Walsh wanted him to block too much. They got other guys for that.
John, the combination of the unselfishness and Scotty's tendency to educate everybody on the offense in his meetings and make sure everybody knows what other groups are doing, it seems like that's leading to a more informed, educated offense overall. Do you find that unique?
Well, I do. Because when I coached White House, I taught them through the quarterback's eyes. What is the quarterback seeing? I think when you do that and you got players that can do it, you know what I mean? We got really smart, tough football players, right? So they all buy into it. You know, there's every once in a while there's somebody, you don't need to tell them so much. I mean, just let them go play. Don't worry about that. But when you teach the receivers, and that's every position, what the quarterback's looking at, man, the game slows down for you. Oh, he should go. He should already do this. He should already do that. You know, based on if we have a shift in a motion in this, you know, based on coverage and things like that, or a certain front. I think when you teach players that way, man, it helps big time.
John, you mentioned the hours that you're putting in, you know, working here, and you guys right now have scored more points than anybody in the league. Just what's been the most rewarding thing for you coaching this group through 4 weeks?
Just winning. I mean, every coach works hard, right? It's like I told you before, it's not about me, and it's about these players. We have great players. All I care about is a W. I don't care how it is. That's all I care about, man. Whether we're running the ball or we got to throw it, whatever it takes. I've said that before. You know, so I don't really care as long as we're winning. To answer your question? All right.
Just mentioning being in the box versus on the field.
Yeah.
Is that a luxury you have partly because of Jared? If you had a younger quarterback who needed settling down or talking to, would you feel more compelled to have to be on the field once in a while?
No, I think it has to deal with the coaches down there. If I was around a new staff or maybe somebody I haven't been around, I would probably want to be down there. But, you know, you got veteran coaches, it's easy. That's the main reason, really. Because you want to make sure, like, we got like 3 quarterback coaches, really. And they've all played, you know what I mean? So it's really easy for me. I can really concentrate. I can say what I need to say downstairs, then boom, I'm on to the next series, getting ready for that. I have to do it that way, you know. So.
Have you always been in the box?
I've been in there my whole career. Yeah, Gruden threw me up there. It's like home. It's my second home. So I feel comfortable. So I want my comfort zone too. You know what I mean? So, you know, you can't get into all the, well, you should be upstairs, you should be downstairs. You're still getting the same communication. You know what I mean? So.